Hi, my name is Amanda, and today I'm going to talk about debunking brain myths. And this is just so interesting to me. So, what I'm going to first start with is a quote from the book How We Learn by Carey. And one of my favorite quotes out of this book, since we've been studying, is on page 36 of the book, and it says, "The brain holds on to what is relevant, useful, or interesting, or may be so in the future." And the reason I just find this quote amazing is relevant and useful. The brain holds on to that. So when you think of that in regards to kids, the biggest thing is how can we make the information we share with these kids relevant and useful? So often, as teachers, we get stuck in this rut of teaching to a standard and teaching that standard within a certain time frame, which just lends its hand to a lot more rote learning rather than experiential learning, which, as we can see through this class, is not the best way to learn. So when I was reading on and debunking these myths, I decided to go with the one on learning styles. And then I also want to touch on the one on music and left and right brain learning a little bit because I found that incredibly interesting as well. So through reading this article, it actually shows us that there is no proven research that learning styles are actually a thing. So learning styles are, okay, one child is a better visual learner, one child is a better hands-on learner, they need to touch things, one child needs to hear things to learn. And so as teachers, so often we will plan lessons to make sure that we touch on all these different learning styles in our lesson, or we reteach something if we didn't hit a particular learning style. Oh, that one child didn't learn it because we didn't have hands-on a part of that lesson. And it's just so interesting to find that research disproves this. Many teachers will swear by the fact that their children learn in different learning styles, and when they teach in those learning styles, it's effective, when in fact research shows it's not the learning style itself that is being effective, it's the change of experience. So say you teach to children all visually one day and then you reteach with something hands-on. The change in the experience is what's really helping them to retain that information rather than the learning styles itself. And sometimes that can get mixed up in proving this is fact or research-based thing. The other thing I found incredibly interesting was the fact that so many teachers hear this word of mouth and don't actually check this out for themselves. And as a teacher myself, I have done that so often before this class. In fact, in regards to learning styles, when I was reading about Piaget, and he was talking about certain developmental stages and kids being in like a concrete stage of learning or then being in a more abstract stage of learning, I thought, well, how does that work? When some kids are kinesthetic learners and some are visual learners, how does that work that they're all in the stage of learning concretely? And that this myth was really debunked for me upon reading this article as a teacher too, because I just thought, wow, really? Research doesn't prove this? So that was one of the biggest things. Also, I read a little bit about the music article, and I remember in college, so many of my classmates saying to me, just like Carey's classmates said to him with brain vitamins or music, so many of my classmates saying, okay, Amanda, listen to this classical music song while you read through all our vocabulary, and then replay it, and you should remember all those facts and all that vocabulary. And it never worked for me, and I thought, okay, I know I'm not a rote memorization learner, very good at that kind of thing, so it must be that. When in actuality, there's no proven research that music helps us to remember facts or makes us any smarter than the next if we're musically talented or, have taken music lessons our whole life, and so now we're going to be smarter than the other person. In fact, the only things that are really proven are things like musicians can process music faster and more efficiently than a non-musician, which I would think would be common knowledge just because of the exposure to music itself and the different theory piece of music. So a lot of the proven scientific research behind music would make more sense. I also found it interesting that some people just don't understand rhythms and melodies, and that's actually a proven fact. So very interesting information. I learned a lot. I could talk for more than 5 minutes about it, but I'm going to wrap it up now since we're getting that 5-minute mark, and I will cite my resources. So thanks so much.